The boat behind me is an Axopar 37 Suntop, and I'm super excited to show you this boat today. Axopar boats have been one of the real success stories over the past decade, and I'm keen for you to understand the story behind these boats, what makes them so special, give you a look at all the engine options, the interior accommodation, the great day boat entertaining experience, the whole lot from top to toe. So let's come on board and take a look. Axopar is a Finnish boat builder, and the origins of these boats are very, very interesting. They started making boats essentially for the Nordic market, and it's very common for people in countries like Finland and Sweden, etc., to own a second house on the archipelago islands that are along the Nordic coastlines, and so they need boats to be able to commute backwards and forwards. And so initially Axopars were really commuter boats, but they spent a lot of time on the hull design for these boats. The waters around those islands are notoriously choppy, and so they needed a hull that would perform well in those conditions. And they also wanted to build boats which were versatile. They definitely wanted not build boats which were one-trick ponies, and so they came up with this really flexible, unique design. But when they launched their first boat, the Axopar 28, at the Düsseldorf boat show, some people were so shocked by this really unique, different design. They couldn't quite get their head around it, and some people even thought the boats were ugly. But as time wore on, people were won over by the versatility, by the performance, how economical the boats were, and what great value for money they are, really high value. And no less than Brabus Marine, the sister company to Brabus Automotive, have chosen Axopar as their platform to build their amazing Brabus Marine boats on. You can have a look at one of our reviews of those, which is the Brabus 900 Shadow. But enough of that, you want to have a look at the boat, so let's get into having a look at what makes this such a special boat. One of the configurations that work really well on these boats is the day boat configuration, where you have this rear lounge set up, but this can also be a wet bar area behind that row of seats. It can be completely free if you wanted to free up that space for, say, fishing or diving, or you can also have a second cabin here, which raises the back here, a couple of windows, and that gives overall accommodation to 4 people. But in this current configuration, I really like it, and it also gives you, if I come down here and show you, an enormous amount of storage. So I don't know if you get a sense of that, but that is absolutely voluminous under there. We've got cushions and some covers, but you could easily have, you know, if you wanted to tow something behind the boat, if you wanted to have, you know, fishing gear, dive tanks. I mean, that is a huge amount of storage and a great feature to have. Another great feature Axopar built into this boat, in this storage cabin here, is a pull-out cold shower. So what a great thing to have if you've had a swim or you need to rinse yourself off. That is just super convenient and a great little feature. As we move forward past the sunbed, let's take a look at another great area of this boat, particularly for day boating, and that's here, midships. And what you can see here is really comfortable seating for, well, I would say that's at least 6 people. I would say probably 7 people. Fantastic area. This table, of course, can be you know, halved if you want to use it that way. But in this configuration, isn't that fantastic? Now that dining table is on struts, so you could lower that down and turn this whole area into another absolutely massive sun lounging area. So imagine that, sun lounging for every single guest to be able to stretch out. I mean, that is just fantastic. Now, the forward row of seating that we've just looked at can, of course, serve 2 purposes, and the second of those purposes is to be helm seats. And let's take a look at the helm right now, because it is a really good looking helm. I've just sat down here. The first thing you notice is great visibility through this forward window, and look at the design of this helm. You've got the 2 Simrad displays here. I love the way that Axopar do all of the buttoning here for the lights and horns and everything in to operate bilges, etc. But it's got that kind of minimalist Scandinavian design that, look, I love it. It's right up my alley. But I love the way that it's finished in this low glare material. I mean, this is just a very comfortable helm to be at. What else have we got? We've got bow thruster controls, of course, that you'd expect that. You've got a remote for the anchor, so that's super convenient to be able to operate the anchor with that remote. UHF, VHF radio, of course, and of course the engine controls themselves. But look, I have to say, this is just a super comfortable place to be. And if I swing around and have a look at the back of the boat, look at that. I mean, it's just beautiful. One thing I want to call out is the sunroof. Now, I did say that this is a sun top, and what that means is that, and particularly for the Australian market, the boat can essentially open right up with the flick of one button. This sunroof will retract all of the way, and essentially, you know, you convert the boat from a semi-closed cabin through to, you know, almost a convertible. And the amount of light now in here is just fantastic. It's equally as easy to close that back up. But I love this feature. I love the flexibility of having that sun top. And for the Australian market in particular, or maybe the US market down around Miami, you would really want that flexibility. Of course, other conveniences that we have include some refrigeration tucked under the front seats. If we move forward to the front of the boat, you'll see that the entertaining space doesn't end. Here we've got ample entertaining space. Look at this great seating area here, beautifully covered with cup holders. You stretch yourself out here, at least a couple of people here, or maybe another person or two there, and even forward you could have people. So, I mean, there is so much space on this boat to have all your friends and people you want to entertain. And if we have a look back at the boat, look at that. I mean, that just looks absolutely fantastic. And underneath those two cushions in front of us is something rather special. That window there might give you a bit of a clue as to what's under there. But let's go and take a look at what we have in terms of day accommodation. Now, to access the accommodation, it's a really simple one-touch operation to release this hatch, and here we are. I'll bring you down into here, but this is really a surprisingly spacious, airy, bright cabin. Here we are, and have a look at that natural light pouring in. This is fantastic. Now, look, these are day boats. You wouldn't want to come away for any more than a night or so here, but you would be very comfortable. Two people down here. There's ample light, ventilation, of course, very comfortable. There's USB charging ports down here. There's illumination strips here, which I understand you can even change the color of those, which is fantastic. And you can open these latches here and open this window right up, so that you've now got nice flow. Oh, look at that. I can feel that air flowing through there straight away. That is just lovely. I can imagine coming down here, even wanting to bring down a book or just get out of the sun. This is a lovely space. But this cabin doesn't end there. Of course, you can see there's not one, but two little, I suppose, little mini lounges where you can come and sit. You might come down here with children or a second or third person. A lot of space. But of course, on a day boat, you want the convenience of a head. And here we are. Here I am in the mirror. G'day. But there we go. So you can close this up. Of course, there's some of the boat switch gear there. You can close this up, and that gives, of course, yourself and your guests the privacy of having a closable toilet compartment, which of course you would want. But one more look. That's a terrific day cabin. Now, the last thing I want to show you on this boat before we wrap things up are these fantastic gull wings. These are quite unique to Axopar, and with the gull wing doors open, you can see that you've not only let in an enormous amount of light, it's beautifully airy in here with a nice cross breeze, but also now leaving the cabin is super convenient. 1, 2, 3 steps, and I'm out of the boat. What a fantastic feature. Not only that, I just think these things look super cool. Now let's talk about the business end of this boat. Now it's fitted with, as you can see, twin Mercury 300 V8s. Now you can also go for a Mercury 250 option, or you can also go for a Mercury 350 V8 option to push this boat along. In its current configuration, it'll definitely do around 50 knots and do that quite comfortably, even in choppy weather. So that is the Axopar 37 Suntop. I love this boat, versatile, great performance, looks amazing, and amazing value for money compared to similar boats in the marketplace. A real trendsetter, a real innovative boat. Thank you again to eYachts for the invitation to show you this boat. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. It encourages me to come down here and do these videos, which I love doing, of course. And if you love this content, I make one of these videos every week. Subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and that way you won't miss any of our content. But I think that's it. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll see you on the next one next week.